The Ware family from Wilcox is rounding out our presentations this evening. Let's watch this video on that.
I believe our story started with Honoree Dinner in Central Texas. He was born in Pastos County, Texas, which is near Colorado City. His dad died early and he went to live with his granddad. And this is all coming from his storybook that he's written based upon the diary that he kept when he did cattle drives up the Chisholm Trail. While they were driving these big herds of cattle into the Midwest and the northern states, they'd run into these big herds of bison, buffalo. Cattle were afraid of the buffalo. He said they'd always run and stampede. He said, so we had to figure out a way to get rid of the buffalo. But everybody had told him that you go shoot the lead bull. He said, well, we went and shot the lead bull and said all the buffalo just got a big circle and walked our way. So he decided that they were going to do something different instead of going what everybody else was doing, going up the trail. So they just would try to bison one out of the country and then they go through with the cattle. And I thought that was kind of an interesting point with things that he was told and what he had to adapt to get those cattle on up there. By the time they got back to the main ranch from that big drive, he had 600 head. All these other, he said that he picked up so many remnants from so many other drives that were going on. So he said that his boss told him, whatever you pick up over and above what you lost is basically is yours. You know, that's your bonus. So he come back, I think he had 600 head, and that's what gave him money to buy the first ranch. He wants to go west, and he comes across from the Big Bend country. He crosses the Rio Grande at Las Cruces with his herd and his buckboards and his chuck wagon. They went on from Las Cruces on to Denny. He said it was over 50 miles of a dry. There was no water from the river all the way to the town site of Denny. So from Denny, they went on to Hatchita. From Hatchita, he went on into Douglas. From Douglas, he came up to Sulphur Springs Valley. This took like a year or two. He left the Big Bend area in 1901. That's when he left the Big Bend area. He left back his son, William W. Ware, which they called Dud. My granddad was D, and his dad was Dud. They left him back on the ranch there. That's when my granddad was born in Alpine, Texas. And William Green continued on. Once they got up to Sulphur Springs, they traveled off up through this country and they wound up in Bonita, which is next to Sierra Bonita Ranch. And Sierra Bonita Ranch was already established at that time. And they homesteaded in the foot of the Blur Mountains on the eastern slope of the Blur Mountains.
My grandparents and my great-grandparents came from Texas. My grandma, we called Mama Ware, had written a story about their trip and about they brought chickens and animals and flowers.
From there, my granddad come out. He said he was just a little guy, and he was raised there. And of course, my granddad told me that my granddad's dad, Doug, was raising the horses, these good horses, which was the remuda for those ranches. They wanted good horses, so Doug had my granddad raise horses, and that's when my granddad got into this quarter horse industry. They were raising these great horses, but they had no way to register them in Bozeman, so they created the quarter horse registry. And
my grandfather and my dad were instrumental in, along with several other horse owners from Texas and California, to get the Quarter Horse Association started. So that was a one big influence that they had.
I asked my granddad where the Tony stud was, And he said that the Tony Stud was the first Arizona registered quarters in the state of Arizona. My granddad, he continued to live on that ranch for the next 88 years of his life. And basically, he died on the Ware Ranch in Sunset.
My brother was 3.5 years older, and we were best friends. We did building fence, branding, putting out feed, doctoring screwworms years and years and years ago. And we got along wonderfully well, and I think ranching encourages that part of the family.
Dad was killed while he was working as a highliner with the Rural Electric Cooperative here in Wilcox. He went up in a 60-foot bucket truck, and there was no detent or bypass valves, and they lost hydraulic power, and he crashed into the ground. They threw him out and broke his neck on the catwalk. Because my granddad he stayed very involved in our lives to the point that he wanted us to have an education. So I would spend a lot of time every Christmas and every summer coming back to the ranch and meeting with my grandparents. Once I graduated from college, I kind of felt an obligation to go back to help my granddad for all he had paid in my school. Somewhere along the line, I think it was in 1940 or 45, my granddad sold that Climax brand. So we started incorporating the Ware Ranch as it be Ware Ranch, no longer Climax.
Being on the ranch, growing up in a ranching family, I think ranching families are very fortunate, lots of hard work, but there's lots of family interaction, but lots of learning, lots of feeling of doing something that's just good for everyone around us.
Accepting the honor tonight is Betty Jo Nicholson, and Mike Weir.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to see friends from past and new friends. Our family recognizes that parents, grandparents, great-grandparents would have been thrilled at the knowledge that the family was being recognized tonight.
The Ware family, on behalf of myself and Betty Jo, would like to thank the Arizona Farm and Ranch Hall of Fame for this Pioneer Award. We would also like to congratulate the other honorees tonight as well. We also would like to thank all the sponsors and recognize them for their contribution to the foundation as well. These donations will help to ensure the sustainability of an organization that recognizes pioneer families in production agriculture. Myself being a fifth generation Ware rancher, and Betty Jo being a fifth generation Ware rancher on my grandmother's side, as well as granddad's side. We continue to ranch in Cochise County, the Corporal Stripe, where the Shannon and Paul Bales, at least from Betty Jo, the Ware Ranch and the Chiricahua, then the Broken Dipper, and the Cross X and Sierra and Luna counties where Dee and Leona now are. The Ware heritage and legacy continues on and on to the seventh generation with my grandkids. I know that my granddad, William W. Ware Jr., as well as his dad, Doug, and William Green Ware, would all be honored and humbled, as is Betty Jo and myself, for this honor. Bruce, you will be missed. as his chair sits empty at Betty Jo's table. All those that traveled here tonight to attend, both family and friends, a special shout out to the Cochise Grand Cattle Growers table to include President John Ladd, past presidents Larry Moore, past president Fred Davis, our vice president Don Lackner, who used to be on the Eureka, where my granddad's dad got one of the first stud horses from the Kennedys on the Eureka. Also, we've got directors Robbie Sprout and David Thompson. And I don't think I missed anybody. I hope I didn't. But thank you all for traveling this far to attend and honor this. I'd like to leave you tonight with a little quote from my great-great-granddad, William Green Ware. He said, "If you do but little well." Thanks again.